시간은 영어로 진행이 되겠습니다. 다 라디오를 준비해 주시기 바랍니다. 次の時間は英語で、次の時間というよりか今日のすべての講義はですね、英語になりますのでラジオを準備してください. 오늘 모든 오후까지의 강의는 영어로 진행이 되기 때문에 그렇게 알고 준비해 주시면 되겠습니다. Where is the English speakers? Good news! Today's all lecture will be in English, so you don't need the radio. Okay. ね、日本語を確認します。OK ですか？ありがとうございます。한국어 들리나요? 네, 감사합니다. Chinese. Okay, great. So now you know what PDT is, right? Right? Yeah. So this time, SDG and topics we will focus on for PDT will be introduced. So please welcome up Suho Kim.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'll stay back this time. I'll stay here. So yeah, good to see you. I am very sorry to see you 3 days in a row. I do apologize. I didn't mean to, but apparently this is my responsibility, and I hope that you do not get bored. So actually, as Ms. Lee said before this, other things is educational materials. This one, it's something that you could act upon. If you focus, pay attention to this PDT program, you'll be able to do something in your community. So I find that it is very important for you to focus, and also take a lot of notes. If you write as much as possible, that diary, the textbook that you have, will be very, very valuable. So anyway, today, this beginning time, we'll talk about the SDG, which is Sustainable Development Goals that the UN set in 2016, and also the topics that we would like to introduce you and we would like for you guys to focus on when we do Peace Designers program. So, first, let's look at the issues that surround us. Essentially, UN SDG was, as I mentioned, is a Sustainable Development Goals. It is an upgraded version of MDG, which ended in 2015. Its MDG is the Millennium Development Goals, but largely, people said that it was very successful, and because it ended in 2015, that then Secretary General for the UN, Mr. Han Ki-moon, decided that we needed to create another set of goals that could help the world develop sustainably. So it started from 2015 March till 2015 August. It took them around 5 months to collect the data of successes and failures of MDGs and create another set of goals that the world could work towards. And their goal is, they created SDGs to be strived for from 2016 to 2030. So the goals are until 2030, and they created 17 goals, but to be able to see what we could really focus on, they've broken down the 17 goals into 169 targets. So when they created this whole SDG, they focused on 3 main points. First is about universality. when we think about the UN and when we think about helping or developing or solving problems, we only think about the third world countries, like countries that are having difficulties or has not developed yet. But SDGs actually focused on goals that could be applied in any countries, even in developed countries like US, Korea, Japan, and other European countries. And second thing is about its impact. It's about how much would it impact, how much it would impact the country. As I said, it doesn't matter whether or not it's a poor country or a rich country. It's about how much impact it would have of the world as a whole. And then third is about tolerance. It's about equality, essentially. It's about being able to focus on all areas of issues that everyone could agree on and everyone should work on. So this is the 17 goals, and as I said, they're broken down into 169 targets. But as you can see, it's like no poverty, everyone understands, right? No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, and so on and so forth. So it actually entails about the human life, quality of life, as well as the environment. So it entails everything. It doesn't just focus on one aspect. How does that relate to us? Who knows about Seonghwa Peace Prize? Yeah? Also not, so yeah. Seonghwa Peace Prize is True Mother's way of showing that we as a collective needs to do something, and we would reward those who had made an impact. So in an essence, it's a competition to Nobel Peace Prize, but in another sense, it's a way for people to really focus on changing the world, making an impact. So 2015 was the first time it nominated and gave the Nobel Peace Prize. Who knows who Anote is? Do you know who Anote is? Anyone? Okay, I'll tell you. He was the former president of a Pacific island called Kiribati. And Kiribati, from what I remember, it's an island that is made up of sand. So the highest elevation is less than 10 meters. There is no hill, there is no mountain. So, you know, with global warming, the elevation of the water is rising. So Kiribati is actually in danger of disappearing because of the rising sea level. So as the president, he did a lot of social movement to try to get people to be aware of the impact of global warming. And then, yeah, he started doing it since like mid 2000s, and then we nominated him in 2015. Boda Dugu Gupta, do you know who he is? Anyone? Just show raise of hand. Anyone heard of him? Okay, one or two. He developed a way of farming fish that was very efficient and productive so that he could tackle hunger issues in his home country of India. It was like freshwater fish farming. And he made such a huge social impact that, you know, we nominated him. 2017, just last year, was the second time we nominated Seonghwa Peace Prize laureates. This Dr. Gino Strada, who has heard of him? Okay, more of you. He created an NGO called Emergency, and it's about providing emergency care in very difficult countries or war-torn countries that cannot get sustainable healthcare. So he's actually a surgeon, and he would bring group of doctors to perform and care for patients or many people who are hurt. Sakina Yakubi, who has heard of her? She is from Afghanistan, and she created a school. It's called Afghanistan Institute of Learning. For those, because Afghanistan was war-torn because of the war in the Middle East, and she created a school to continuously educate the children, because when the country is in a war, schools cannot function. There are many difficulties. So she gathered many funds, and she created schools wherever she can so that children could continuously receive education. So this is True Mother's vision. She was always ahead of the curve. 2015, True Parents focused on the Sarak Peace Prize laureates with the environmental problems in mind. In 2016, UN started a discussion, had a summit about environmental impact. 2017, we nominated 2 people who worked with people who are having difficulties in war-torn countries or who couldn't receive normal care or education. 2018, US started having discussions and summits about how to help these refugees. So, True Mother, True Parents are always ahead of the curve. So, how does that relate to us? Last year, if I remember correctly, when we did Peace Designers Table, we kind of opened up the areas that you could focus on. You could approach any kind of problem within your area of interest. It could be education, it could be about poverty, it could be other things. But this year, to align ourselves with True Parents' vision and True Parents' provenance, we decided to condense that into 4 different categories. So first, just like the laureates of 2015 Sanak Peace Prize, is environment. As you know, there has been many difficulties and many controversies surrounding the environmental issues. There are scientists who says that global warming is not true, and there are other people who are saying it is true. And some people say that the global warming, the increasing average temperature of Earth is normal, while others say it has increased, exponentially compared to, other periods on Earth. But what we do have to agree is that human actions are making more of an impact in the environment than before. That has to be agreed on, because whether or not it's global warming, there is an issue with plastics in the ocean, and then also the microplastic issue where fish eats microplastics, and when they open it up, their gut is full of plastic. And we're seeing this domino effect of this food chain. And then, as you know, you're not allowed to eat tuna as often because of the buildup of mercury. You guys are all aware of that, yeah? So, this is a very important issue. Second is human rights. This is related to the 2017 Sanak Peace Prize laureates. It's about equal care and equal opportunities to all those people around the world. in essence, in a such developed era that we are in now, it is implausible for us to think that you cannot have the opportunity to learn your language or to read. Don't you agree? Was that statement very difficult? What I'm saying is, everyone here has a cell phone or has contacted the computer. Everyone has held a pen and a paper. For us, it's a norm, and we have an excess of these things. But though there are people who still were not able to have this common things, I guess. They do not have access to books for them to learn their own language. What we're focusing on is that this should be one of the most equal things, most basic needs, and it's part of human rights. In that sense, we start with education and the basic needs, but it goes on to the equality of education for children and equality of men and women. So it develops into many things, but it starts with basic education. The third and fourth is more related and more close to, as you say, our church activities, but it's about true family values. Divine Principle always focused on the value of human beings and also what we needed to do, and about creating ideal family, but not in a church setting, not in order to kind of witness to further the unification church movement, but in terms of trying to bring about peace around the world through the education of all the people about the importance of family in the society. So, next is the unification of the Korean Peninsula. This actually is very related to the providence of God's providence, because Korea as the father country, it holds a very big significance, because True Father even mentioned this many times, that the world will achieve peace when Korea is reunited. In that sense, we have been working so hard to bring about, and in recent times, if you have seen the news, there has been a great development about the reunification of Korean Peninsula, with the meeting of Kim Jong-un and Moon Jae-in, the president or the head of state for North and South Korea, as well as meeting between Mr. Trump and Kim Jong-un. So actually in history, the head of US and head of North Korea has never met. So it was a historical moment a couple months ago, I guess, in June. But in that sense, you guys really need to feel that the providence is very imminent. The era that we live in is very important. It's a very precious moment. And many things are moving along, and you need to be able to kind of zero in on what we need to do and what your role as individual, like your individual role in terms of how to help two parents and how to bring about the providence or fruition of the providence. So anyway, that actually, I went really, really quickly to the whole, my section. I actually have 20 more minutes to go. But the reason why we're focusing on this 4 is because last year, many people had a hard time of developing the projects and also kind of focusing. But in order to bring about this movement as a youth movement, and the reason why YSP is involved with PDT is to create a kind of unified movement of youth so that we could make an impact. Everyone understands. Instead of approaching individual topics, if we zero in our focus into 4 topics, we'll be able to make a bigger impact because we're kind of concentrating into closer places. So, in that sense, I really hope that you guys take into account of the 4 topics, and from the afternoon, we'll start to fill out starting the next part, we'll start to fill out the worksheet. So from now, I really need you guys to kind of wake up and really think about what programs that we need to do, what problems that we see in our community that surrounds us, and to really kind of have an analytical way of seeing things, to really kind of break down and to try to deconstruct and construct the problems around us, okay? So let me finish this presentation a little early, and can we meet back at 10:50? You guys have 15 minutes. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay, then we'll be back in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we're gonna break time by 10:50. Please gather back here by 10:50.